I just gotta tell Witty, I gotta tell the audience about something that was really exciting this week. I got the opportunity to work with U.S. Soccer Foundation and host the Congressional Soccer Match. And even, and it's a little bit somber, but I was very excited to be there. But one of the only reason I was even there was because I was introduced by people from the U.S. Soccer Foundation by Grant Wall, and it's just one of those examples of after he passed, we got so many stories, and we heard Witty on the podcast as well talk about just so many kind and good things that he did for people in this industry. And this is just one example of that. So every story I'm about to tell you, I just want to thank Grant, because none of it would have happened, and it was one of the wildest experiences I've ever gotten to have. So the U.S. Soccer Foundation, an awesome organization that really focused on it came about, I don't know if you know this, Witty, it came about after the 94 World Cup. When the U.S. got the 94 World Cup, FIFA basically said, okay, you can have it, but you're going to have to create an organization to help grow the game in the country. And that is what U.S. Soccer Foundation is. They build mini pitches. They help grow the game in the country, for underprivileged communities, stuff like that. So that was why this game was happening. So it was a Congressional Soccer Match. They do it every year. I think this is like the 7th or 8th iteration. And literally the final game is Republicans versus Democrats. They also do a staffers versus lobbyists game, and they do like a embassy game, which I wasn't.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. But so there were 3 matches. So
you could have like a mini World Cup in DC. That'd be amazing. 100%. An embassy World Cup. That'd be amazing.
It was super cool. The first I had got there, I was working with Jillian Sakovitz, your colleague at MLS, and we were emceeing, kind of joking around and doing interviews with some of the players, some of the politicians, stuff like that. So we got there for the staffers versus lobbyists game. That was the first one, and lobbyists won that game, as they usually do, right? The lobbyists. I
don't feel like I'd want to be playing for team lobbyists. There's a certain evil characterization behind that. It's like, yeah, let's go lobbying.
And that's up the lobbyists, that was sort of the being there. The tone of the game, it was way more lighthearted than when I was posting, being like the staffers versus the lobbyists 2-1. You know what I mean? It just it has a much more sinister kind of tone. Yeah. When you're just like reading the score line and things like that. But I was talking to some of the lobbyists, and the lobbyists were just like, hey, we used to be staffers, but we didn't make enough money, so this is where the money's.
Oh God! Just completely dispensing with the good of working in government. Just like, I wanted some money. The money's in lobbying. You
learn very quickly that it's the reality of American politics exists right here on the pitch. It is very much present. Where even a lot of the lobbyists and the staffers work together every day. I was even asking them, I'm like, hey man, is it more difficult to get a bill passed, one of these staffers, or is it, or when they're marking you, can you get passed? You know what I mean? And and they were like, it's easier here. I can't. Yeah. The bills are a little bit tougher to pass. But
since you started this, all I've been thinking about is coming up with like a song for the lobbyists, like lobbies on fire, your Congress is terrified, lobbies on fire, like this is something like that. Yeah. What would the songs of the lobbyists be?
I was initially just thinking like the Star Wars Empire music, but I don't know if that would
everyone in the crowd going da 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 da.
I don't know. Like that was working this job is also I'm a stand-up comic. I clearly want to make as many jokes as possible, but I'm also not trying to like mess up the bag either.
Right, exactly. Right? So, you're like, put your foot in it. Yeah.
So it was a healthy balance of trying to make a couple jokes and stuff like that, but not be too partisan. That's really that was the main thing. And so there were a couple things that happened to me. I before the congressional match, I was kicking the ball around with Senator. I think he was the only senator there, but Senator Todd Young of Indiana, a Republican of Indiana, and he was I was doing keepy uppies with him. which is
Wow.
it's a sentence I never thought I would ever utter in my life.
Does he have soccer previous? Like, was he good?
Yes, I think he played in either high school or college. He was pretty good. He was doing some like back heels. We have a video where we're showing right now of him doing some back heels, kicking the ball.
Yeah, according to his wiki page, he won a state soccer championship in 1990.
Look at that. You see? And he said that he wasn't playing in the game simply because he was like, my knees, I've been carrying this party too long. And that was literally as I was kicking the ball with him. I don't know anything about him, and I was just like, please, man. Just don't be a monster. Please don't be a monster. Every pass back and forth, I'm like, please, I hope you're a monster. And then I looked him up, and he is like, he's not like a MAGA guy, but he's a more staunch conservative that most Democrats probably do not like or whatever. But I'm like, all right. I mean, that's what I grew up with, just a nice, conservative.
You believe in fiscal conservatism,
exactly.
that sort of thing.
They're subtle with it,
Right, exactly.
so that was fun,
Yeah.
and then the game itself. So I just wanted, this is where we'll wrap up here with this. The Democrats had Eric Swalwell, the Republican from California. We're looking at a photo.
Democrat from California.
Democrat from California. We're looking at a photo. I took a photo with him. He was a very nice man.
He was in like the 19-person field for the presidency.
Yes,
when Joe Biden got, he was in like, weren't there like 2 debates one night, or there was like one time where Eric Swalwell really like took his hack and didn't work out for him.
Exactly. And but he played goalkeeper for the Democrats, and he was pretty good. I was genuinely.
So if the Republicans if the representatives and like there weren't that many representatives and weren't that many senators, who sort of filled out the squads? So
it was some former MLS players. Chris Pontius played. I think he was on the Dems, if I'm not mistaken. Aleko Skandarian, former DC United legend, also works at MLS. He was interesting. He was supposed to play for the Democrats, and then he was arriving late, and the coach of the Democrats was Tony Sane, legendary USMNT guy in Minnesota, and he. Since he was a coach, and he was like friends with Aleko, and he was annoyed that he was late. He was like, "Oh, you're on the red team." And when he was literally on the sheet for the Democrats, and Aleko was the best player on the Republican team because Aleko's been on the show. He's a good friend. He is a guy, and I'm sure you've encountered this, where former MLS players can't. Or former athletes, or in general, they can't shut off the competitive. Doesn't matter if it's a charity match
for sure.
or anything. And there was a moment there. Josh Norman, the cornerback from he was also playing
formerly of Washington. Yeah.
Right. He was he played in the first half as forward, and he is an NFL player, and he is not built to play soccer necessarily. He's a pretty big dude. But in the second half he played goalkeeper. There was a back pass. It got to him from a Democratic player. He picked it up with his hands. The ref called an indirect free kick.
Wow.
So this is the ball's on the right outside the 6-yard box.
Was there like a 10? Oh God, we're getting into politics now. Did the Republicans build the wall on the goal line?
The Democrats, they tried to filibuster this indirect free kick, and they did all they could to stop it. But I forgot who. I think it was Chris Pontius that initially maybe touched the ball. I forgot who it was, but Aleko Eskandarian, and I have a clip. We're showing the clip right now because this was filmed. Aleko Eskandarian, he took the I thought he was gonna try to tap it in, get it under some folks, because there's literally the entire Democratic team is lining up inside the goal to prevent Aleko from scoring, and Aleko rockets it. He hits the ball from 6 yards out. It must have been like 70, 80 miles per hour. He hit this ball so hard, and luckily he did not hit anybody. He literally upper 90, roof of the net. It was just a great shot, but I couldn't believe that he took the shot to begin with. It was surreal. The Republicans ended up winning, and then the other representative, Dan Crenshaw, was on the Republican team, and I don't know his his soccer history, but he did play. He looked like he knew definitely like what he was doing. My man played a bit aggressively though.
That's not surprising.
I mean, seconds in, Crenshaw got, he just set the tone for the game. And that I don't think slide tackling was allowed, but he got one in there. And so he was also pretty good. Definitely played with a lot of intensity. But overall, this congressional match was pretty incredible. I believe that they told us it was the first time they had Jillian and I were like, the announcers or whatever, or like in stadium announcers, and it was the first time they did that, and it was great. It was just like we could voice the absurdity and the craziness of the actual game. So it was super entertaining.
Forgive me for interrupting, but I just pulled up an article about Dan Crenshaw. Apparently, after the game, because he has a glass eye. He's sort of known for wearing an eye patch. And apparently he took out the glass eye and said, quote, "The refs have 2 eyeballs, but they don't use them, so I'm just going to give them one of mine."
I didn't know he said that.
Wow. That's incredible.
I did see he was standing next to me, and I thought he would be wearing the eye patch, but he did not wear it. And yes, you could see that he did not have a glass eye while he was playing. And also weirdly, he was playing without his glass eye, and then I saw another guy on like the Democratic team playing with full like glasses, not like the not like
the goggles around that, just like the glasses I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, just regular pushing him up every time he was trying to get the ball. I'm like, oh, bro, that pretty, not a super professional game, but super entertaining. So I just say that to I'm sure they're going to be doing this every year. Fans need to go to this. There were a fair amount. There were probably like 2,000-3,000 people there, roughly. But this should be a well attended. The tickets are free. It was really, really cool. So recommend it for. I would
love for there to be supporter stands for both teams, just like the capos leading Democrat chants and leading Republican chants down the other end, and you're not singing anymore. You're not singing anymore.
There's so much opportunity for this amazing banter.
Yeah.
So please, if you're listening to this, that is a call for everybody to make sure to attend this game. This would be so wild.